Hi, this is Kimberly Reuter, business advisor and supply chain expert, and welcome back to my podcast. I forgot the name of it because we just renamed it recently. Supply Chain Wake Up. I almost said morning mood, and then it took a minute. So sorry about that. As you guys can tell, I am actually recording early in the morning now because I can't keep it together. Let me just have a sip of coffee here, and we're going to go. So welcome back, guys. As you know, we've been doing some rebranding. We've got some different colors going on in the background. We're redoing banners and artwork and all kinds of exciting stuff. You should be seeing that by now, hopefully. Let me know what you think. I would love to know what you guys think about it because you've been here for the whole journey. And it was a little rough in the beginning, let's be honest. So anyway, today I'm going to talk to you about the holidays. And if you were in supply chain, you've been thinking about the holidays since about August. It's time to talk about it. I also got my first Black Friday sale notice. Thank you, Brewmate. I think you were the first. You beat everybody to the punch. Halloween has not even happened, but we are looking at Black Friday sales. So it's the holidays are here, whether or not you want it or not. Personally, I hate that we start talking about Christmas in freaking October. It is all retail and e-commerce driven, 100%. Why that happens. And it is to lock in your dollars early. That's why. You know what? I'm going to do a different podcast on that because now that I'm talking about it, I want to talk about holiday shopping and how it works and why you see this shit now. Okay. So I just made a little note to myself. And for those of you who've been with me for the podcast for a hot minute, and I think I told you guys months ago I was going to come up with this great, awesome way to organize myself and make it look really good and keep and none of that has happened, by the way. It's still a hot shit mess on my desk all the time. So still putting on little Post-it notes. These are reusable. That's the only upgrade I've had. So anyway, if you're wondering how I'm doing in that space, not well. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. So anyway, back to the holidays. And are you ready for the holidays in supply chain? So hopefully most of you have gotten your inbound done. By this time, mid-late October, you should have all of your inventory for holiday in. And if you don't have it all in, it better be trickling in. You've got a few more containers on the water. But for most retailers in e-commerce, by this time of the year, most of your inbound is already in and stowed. Warehouses are optimizing for holiday fulfillment at this point, making sure we got our high ticket items, our high selling items in prime locations for picking. This is kind of the work that's going on in supply chain. And in my experience, and I've done both inbound, outbound supply chains, this sort of period between beginning of October and mid-November is kind of a slight lull. You're getting your final inbounds in and you're getting ready for the holidays. And so most people are doing that. Most companies are doing that. The supply chains are making sure that they're ready. So from an inbound perspective, you likely have all of your stuff is in. We're not dealing with any sort of like making big inbound moves. That stuff is either on the water or it is in your facility, but not a whole lot more coming in from an inbound perspective. So you probably feel pretty good about that. From an outbound perspective, I'm sure you've talked to your carriers to make sure that you have enough capacity available, that you are ready with your corrugate, you've got your dunnage stocked up, you're ready to enter into your high fulfillment stage of the holidays. That's what it's going to be from now until December 22nd or 23rd, whenever last fulfillment cutoff will be this year. This is going to be focused on fulfillment. That is where most companies are working right now. They're staffing up. They're getting their fulfillment processes streamlined. They're making sure all the equipment is working, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But there's probably a few things that you haven't thought about yet in supply chain that will completely flip you over during the holidays if you don't have these under control. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, because most companies don't actually think about these three things that I'm going to bring up to you when they're planning for their holidays. They do what I just told you. Do we have the in stock? Do we have the inventory in stock? Please, I hope you're doing that. If you're not doing that, call me. We need to talk. Okay, so most companies are doing, do we have the inventory in stock? Yep, merchandisers are jumping up and down, making sure they got everything. Do we have enough capacity with our carriers, right? Is UPS and FedEx going to bring a truck to me or as many trucks as I need on a regular basis through these holidays? And that is something you need to go ahead and double check if you haven't done it. Because I'm going to say in the last 10 years, it has not been uncommon for carriers to pull capacity at some point. But things have changed. Amazon isn't as big a player with UPS and FedEx and DHL now because they have their own network. So things have shifted a little bit, but make sure that you have your capacity. So you have probably done all these things. Your warehouse is ready, your inbound is clean, and you're ready with your carriers. Those are kind of the three things that most companies get in line and they think they're ready for the holidays, but you're missing a few. Okay. Number one, have you talked to sales and marketing? Yeah. You haven't. I know you haven't. I know you didn't. Don't say you did. I know you didn't. Go talk to sales and marketing. Yes. Supply chain professionals, get off your asses and go talk to sales and marketing. What do they have planned for this holiday season? What do they have planned? Are we going to do a great big sale on Black Friday? God, I hope you know about that. Right? What else do they have planned? If Black Friday doesn't go well, what's the backup plan? Do they have a plan B? Are they going to let Black Friday bleed on a little bit if they don't get the sales that they want? Are they planning a mid-holiday sale right before Christmas in order to clean out any excessive inventory? What are their plans? Are we introducing any new product, any exclusive product that no one has seen and no one has heard of, and we're going to introduce it during the holidays? You need to know about all of this. Yeah, you do. And don't let them tell you you don't need to know. You need to go sit down, your marketing, merchandising teams, whoever is in charge of special events, sales, markdowns, whoever is in charge of that, whoever is in charge of your special events, your celebrity events, any of that stuff. First of all, you should be talking to them year round. But if you haven't been doing that, you need to definitely go talk to them right now. Okay? Go talk to them. What are the plans? What are the backup plans? If we don't sell through our inventory but X date, what is your plan? What you're going to do? I mean, I hope they have a plan. For the love of God, I hope that supply chain is not telling them to come up with this plan. They should have a plan, and they need to share it with you. Now, a lot of times what happens, and I have seen this, and I've actually witnessed it and been a part of it, and I've had to knock down this barrier. Where the teams, it's none of your business, they say. Oh, sales and marketing, merchandising. Hey, what are your plans? You can do markdown. Well, we don't know yet. And you don't need to know because we'll decide that later. Well, here's the truth. They do know because they have to have marketing spend approved. They have to have budgets for things. They have sales goals. They have all kinds of goals that they have to meet on their own. So while they may be telling you, well, we don't know yet because that's a last minute decision that we're going to make, it's actual bullshit. They have some sort of idea. They have to in order to run the business. So get in there and find out what it's all about. And if you're hitting doors and nobody's talking to you and nobody will share it with you, let me tell you why. Because you have not told them why it's important for them and why it's important to the customer. So you have to know all of this well in advance of it actually happening. Regardless if they're trying to keep it secret, they don't want anybody to know, it's tight-lipped, it's an exclusive offering, whatever the thing is, you have to know. Sign an NDA, whatever you have to do, put tape on your mouth, whatever it is that you have to do to get them to share the information with you, because here is why you have to know, and this is what you have to tell them. If I don't know that you're going to be planning a sale, or you may be doing a sale, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or we're launching a new product, I may not have the capacity to support the influx of orders. Let me repeat that for you. If I don't know that there is going to be a new product bought in, a sale, an event, a markdown, a whatever, a friends and family, whatever the hell you call it, as your supply chain professional, I may not be able to obtain the capacity that we need to fulfill those orders. That's it. That is the answer. I don't want to share this information with you. I may not be able to fulfill your orders. That's the end of the story. That's why I'm asking for this information. I'm not asking because I'm trying to tell you you can't do it. I'm not asking to tell you that we don't have the capacity. And let's sit and spin on that for just a second. Okay. Because if that is your approach, if you're going in, if you're the supply chain professional and you're going to these people and they are sharing this information with you and your response is, well, we can't do that. We can't support that. That ain't going to happen. If that is your response, that's why you're getting locked out right there. I've already talked to y'all about saying no. Don't say no. We've talked about this. So that's why you have to go in. We've talked about storytelling and what the benefit is to the people that you're talking about, right? I talk to you guys about this all the time about storytelling. So if you're having a hard time getting people to share with you, if you're in supply chain and your merchandising and sales and marketing teams will not share any of this information with you, it's because you have not told the story well enough. And the story is this. If I do not know that there may be an increase in orders due to a special event, I may not be able to obtain the capacity we need to fulfill those orders. That is this plain, that's a boundary, that's what you say. That's it. And when the shit hits the fan, I told you that we may not be able to meet the capacity, get the capacity to fulfill the orders. Like I told you this. If you had told me and brought me into the fold, I could have worked on this and made sure that we had the capacity. Okay, that's why I'm asking for this information. No other reason. And I know the story seems a little weird, and there's probably a few people out there that are like, what the hell is she talking about? This never happens. She's totally blowing smoke. She's making up shit to talk about. After 100 episodes, she's out of shit to talk about. No, let me tell you something. I have a real life story, and it actually happened. So this was at Nordstrom a while back. None of the people who were involved in this on supply chain are still there. So I can talk about this now because nobody will get hurt or their feelings won't get hurt. And it wasn't actually supply chain's fault. They got blamed for it. And there was some nastiness that happened after this, but it actually wasn't supply chain's fault. Well, maybe it was their fault that they didn't ask, but it wasn't their fault. So what happened was this. Sales were down. We're at Nordstrom. Holiday sales were not as strong as we thought they were going to be. And at the last minute, about 5 days before Christmas, the merchandising team decided to have a sale and they didn't tell anybody. And they did, I think it was, 20 to 30% off, something meaningful right before the holidays, right? So, we're already at capacity with the carrier. We're already at, peak fulfillment. And the merchandising team decides on their own, without discussing it with anybody, without sharing with anybody that this is happening, that we're going to have a sale. And they did. And it was massively successful. And customers bought all kinds of stuff. And I think our orders jumped up by 30% day over day when they did this. Shocking. Great news for the company, right? But here's the problem. Nobody told supply chain. Yeah. Okay. So guess what? On December 20th, there's no extra capacity in any carrier network anywhere in the whole world. There's no capacity. Maybe in countries where they don't celebrate Christmas, but at this point, just about everybody commercially celebrates Christmas. Okay. So there's no capacity. So while we had a wonderful, beautiful uptick in orders, we couldn't ship them out. Even though they were able to actually get them fulfilled by some sort of who the hell knew that was going to happen? They couldn't get them out. The carrier did not have the capacity. And they did everything. Bring us a plane. We'll pay for a plane. Whatever you want. We just get the packages out of the warehouse, whatever you need. They did not have capacity in the network, period. It wasn't about getting a truck or a plane there. They couldn't shove anything more through their network. So guess what? Almost 20% of those orders got canceled right before Christmas. It was a shit show. There were back orders. More stuff came back after the holidays because it didn't make it before the holidays. It was horrible. And what caused this absolute holiday catastrophe for a company that has been doing this for 100 years? I mean, they hadn't been in e-commerce that long, but they have been doing retail for over 100 years at this point. What caused this problem? Communication. The merchandising team did not talk to supply chain, did not talk to the outbound team about this. And it was a flop. We lost customers forever because we failed them. So if you think what I'm telling you is absolute horse shit, check yourself. It's real. If you're in supply chain today, this week, I want you to go talk to merchandising and sales and find out what the plans are for the holidays. Go do it. So it's number one. I know you haven't looked, so go check that out. Number two, my dear friends, is returns. I know I said we had three, but we're kind of running out of time. So we're going to get on returns and then we're going to see. So returns. Another thing that most supply chains around the holiday prep do not prepare for. Okay? That shit's coming back. And the earlier you start your sales, if you're starting your holiday sales in October and November, the returns are coming back now because you're going to get it. They don't like it. They get it. They find a cheaper price later. They return it back to you. Your returns are going to increase before the holidays because of the way holiday shopping has changed. Before, we went shopping after Thanksgiving, and that was it. You had 30 days. You got it at Christmas. That's how it worked. Now we're Christmas shopping in October, sometimes September. So returns are going to uptick now. They will definitely increase in January after Christmas. We all know that, but you are going to see an increase now. Are you prepared to handle that? Because here's why it's so important. You are at one of your sales peaks, right? It's the holidays. So if you don't have your returns process up and fired up and like flowing, you're going to have inventory that you can't get back into the sales cycle during the holidays. During your peak sales time, you're going to have inventory that you can't get back in a sellable location to hit the holiday sales cycle. Yeah. So guess what's going to happen to that shit in January? You're going to mark it down. Get your returns processes up and flowing now. Work on them now. And so what does that look like? Because a lot of companies right now are really amping up the outbound. They're putting all their staff on outbound. They're shifting the warehouses to focus on outbound. But depending on how you manage your returns, you're going to have some inbound. And you're going to have staff to process those returns to make sure that they get back in a sellable location as soon as possible. Also, you want to get the customer's money back to them right now. They're putting out a lot of money during the holidays. They need to get their money back faster. So have you talked about returns yet? Have you talked to, again, your merchandising teams? What has the return rate been during the holidays previously? Do we have any high return items that we're concerned about during this holiday season? What is our return pattern been up to this date? How did our returns perform last year? How can we improve on that? These are questions and things that you can start digging into to make sure that you are ready for your holiday returns, which are going to start in about 2 weeks, not January. And again, the reason why this is so important right now, because here's what a lot of companies do, okay? Is like, we'll just deal with that shit in January when we care about returns, when all the holiday returns come back. And they may process them, but they let them backlog up because they're focused on outbound. That's what they're doing. We're got to get the orders out, get the orders out, get the orders out. And yes, you do need to get your orders out, but they let this return backlog start to set up. And then we'll deal with this in January. We'll deal with this in January. We'll deal with this in January. What is in that backlog of returns? Sellable inventory. Yeah, sellable inventory is sitting right there in that big pile in your warehouse that you don't want to deal with until January. So guess what? If you have a really popular item and it's been returned early on for some reason, your merchandising team is over there buying more to fulfill the expected orders because it looks like you're out of inventory because you got 100 units sitting right here in this pile. All of that is going to get marked down after the holidays. All of it. So get your returns in play now. This is not a January problem. This is a now problem. Number 3 is customer service. Are you prepared for the influx of customer contacts that are going to come? It happens every year. You can't avoid it. But a lot of companies do not prepare for it. And so what happens is that everything is going well until it is not going well. And the customers are sitting on the phone for hours trying to get a hold of somebody in customer service to make sure this happened or that happened. And especially This is very important to have your customer service prepped and ready if you're doing new drops or exclusive products during the holidays, because that's going to produce a lot of questions and concern and inquiry from the customer because they've never seen it before. They want to know more about it. They have questions about it. So make sure that your customer service team is also up and ramped and ready and prepared for any events, sales, promotions, whatever it is that's being planned during the holidays. Because if they are not, again, they will not be prepared to handle the influx of customer calls. And the answer, again, is the same. If we are not included in these conversations, if we are not part of these conversations, and I'm not saying I'm a decision maker or supply chain gets to be a decision maker or supply chain gets to say no, that's not what this is about. This is about being informed. Because if we are not informed, if supply chain is not informed, and a lot of times customer service sits in supply chain, that's why I've lumped this in here. Almost every company I've worked for, supply chain and customer service were right linked because that's mostly what they call about, right? Where's my package? So it makes sense. But if your teams are not synced with what we're planning from a promotion sales perspective, if that conversation has not happened, your customer service team will not have the capacity to handle the calls and service the customer the best. So again, bad customer you lose loyalty, you lose satisfaction because you promoted something and then couldn't support the customer through it. That's why this is so important to have these conversations. It is not about control. It is not about supply chain having the final say. It is about being informed so that supply chain can, at the very, very best, support what the company is trying to achieve. Because if you do not bring your supply chain into this, you will not get there. You will not have the capacity. Customers will be disappointed. Inventory will sit. Phones will go unanswered. It will be a shit show. So while you're doing your holiday planning, you have to know, what are our sales and marketing plans for the holidays? What we got going on? We introducing any new product? What are we doing? You have to be a part of that conversation. That does not make you your decision maker. I want to be clear about that. Number 2, are your returns tight? You ready for that? Have you figured it out? Because you're starting now. It's not a January problem. This is a now problem. And is customer service ready for that influx of calls? Is customer service prepared? Do they know what's coming? Do they know about the new exclusive product that's coming? Are they educated on it? Do they know about the sales? What are the rules of the sales? They need to know all of these things because there will be an uptick and increase in customer contacts, especially around the holidays. So you can have your inbound good, you can have your warehouse tight, and you can have everybody staffed and ready for outbound. But if you don't have these 3 things, it ain't gonna be good. All right, that's me today. Thank y'all for being here. May I be the first to say this, but happy holidays.